And so, but in terms of everything that you could do, why not, for instance, I mean, you were a professional investor already, so you were like, all right, I'm going to start investing as well. But then, as you were researching, instead of just trying to raise a traditional fund, eGenius, now Mar Ventures were both, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but venture builders, right? So maybe if you want to explain the difference between a venture builder and a regular fund, and why you decided to actually start a venture builder versus just a traditional fund.
I'll start answering why and then explain the difference. But when I was leaving Velt, Mauricio questioned me about why don't you try to build a fund? Why don't you try to be invest in companies? And when I was doing the research, what I realized, Pedro, is like a lot of the big names in venture capital, they have been entrepreneurs before. They felt the pain. They've learned through the process. Most of them completed a cycle. I didn't felt that I had any not capability. I could learn the process, but I didn't feel qualified enough as an analyst sitting on a chair. And I love doing research, but you're basically sitting on a chair, you're reading a bunch of stuff, you talk to people, and then you make an opinion about something. And there's a lot of art about that. I love that fact of trying to understand what will happen, but you've never seated on the other side of the table. So how would I discuss an opportunity with an entrepreneur if I never been in his shoes? How would I question his decisions? Not even question his decisions, but even trying to understand where the business was going if I never, took part in creating a business. So I've decided that if I wanted to be more involved with technology, if I wanted to be a good investor in the future, I wanted to have this experience, firsthand experience by building something. So that was one of the motivations personally for me to get involved with the Builder project. And then the Builder project was a combination of stupidity with ambition. So I think we were a little bit arrogant back then. So we were like, okay, let's start something. So what can we start? So 2014 in Brazil, there were not many startups solving many of the problems that Brazil had. So we could do a brainstorm, and then we could find 6 different businesses that made a lot of sense. So okay, and then we would look who is doing this business in Brazil. There was no startup. There was a lack of entrepreneurs with experience. And back then we understood that there was a combination of experience. So me, Thales had done Easy Taxi, Marcio, Arruda was from Rocket Internet. So we're like, okay, we know what we were doing. We didn't know shit. You know something, but you didn't know shit. And then we're like, okay, so why don't we do all of our ideas? That's a great idea. Let's do a builder. And later on, we realized, okay, we're probably the only builder in the world that started without money. So the builder model works. So the difference is that the venture builder in the US, what is the difference between the venture capital and a builder? The builder, you become a co-founder in the process of launching a startup. So you're not an incubator, you're not an accelerator, you actually take roles into the company. You have a structure within the venture builder, and then you launch the business together with the company, and you actually fund the early days of this business before the business raises the capital. So you take executive roles within the company. You help build part of the initial process of the company, and then the startup is able to raise its own capital, and then you would start, releasing it to the market. So that was the concept, and then we were the first ones to do it without that much money. So the first money was my capital that I was going to use in an MBA. So I've seeded the builder structure, but we were starting several businesses at the same time with not enough capital. So it was very challenging. We had to work a lot back then. So that was the combination. So we saw, and to be quite honest, most of the opportunities I think all of the ideas we had, we didn't execute all of them, but all the ideas, I still have a deck. They became large businesses afterward that other people launched. So we were right about the opportunity of the market, the size of the market, which industries there were opportunities for disruptions. But the fact is, like, it's very challenging to do one business. If you want to do more than one at the same time, you have kind of like twice the complications, and then by doing many at the same time, you have a lot of challenges. So it was very challenging. That's why I say it's a combination of ambition and stupidity. It ended up fine into this process. I still have to see the whole movie to the end. I think it's still in the beginning of the story of MS Online. But the fact that there was a lot of effort involved, and all me and all my partners, we had to work a lot to start with less money, doing more things.
Yeah, I think some of the most well-known ones in the US are probably Expa, Atomic, but it's interesting that I know.
eFounders is very large in the US, but they're from Europe.
Oh, eFounders are
They're
awesome.
also they're very-
I've invested in Aircall.
Yeah,
we were the first U.S. investors for them at the seed round. Now I think that they're like probably nearly maybe 20 million ARR. So the company's doing really well, but they are very good. I think eFounders is one of the few that really cracked the code in a way where the founders continue to be aligned with them 4 or 5 years down the road. I don't think that that's the case for others. I won't name names, but knowing stories from other founders where the issue, I think, with the venture builder model in some ways is that, you are hiring, you have to find the hired guns for the entrepreneurs that are going to kind of like run the businesses. And usually it's this combination of like skin in the game that could be disproportional, that then when success comes, because everyone has to work hard, it's never easy. So but then you start with far less equity. That was being probably the problem of Rocket Internet in the old days, right? Where we have 5%, 10% of the company, and it seems very attractive because from day one you get to have this massive salary. But people don't understand that ultimately, like, what really has it's carried interest in equity in businesses, right? Like, cash is just a way for you, and like you said, when you become a partner at 26 at one of the best hedge funds in the country, then you kind of solved all of your money problems, and then what, right? So it's actually easy to figure out a way to solve all of your money problems. I shouldn't say easy, but like if you want it, you'll find a way, right? I did not grow up with a lot of money, and it took me about 8 years. But like if I wanted to, I could retire, and I will never retire. But so there's a way, I guess. Like, it's not easy, but there's always a way.